moving from chnsip to pjsip. Not something where many people are looking forward to it, moving to pjsip, and there is no reason to. It's different pjsip, but it is better. But you have to forget about chnsip. But I'll get into that later. First, very short, who am I? I'm very short. I'm Tom de Moor. That's my Twitter handle. I come from Belgium, famous for its strange little statues. French fries are from Belgium. Chocolate waffles, and of course, beer. I'm a developer. As a kid, I always liked playing and connecting stuff together with Lego and making all the connecting things that weren't made to be connected with each other, like the My Little Pony from my sister and my helicopter. That's okay. So I still do that, but my tools got different. I don't play with My Little Pony anymore. So that's some stuff I created. You can find them online. The examples and I've written a script for the migration for the real-time database tables from chnsip to pjsip. And it's online, it's on that page, and it's not a typo. Delete is phonetic and Dutch, but I will show it again at the end. While I was making this presentation, I rewatched the movie The Matrix, you all know. So there will be quite some references to The Matrix in this presentation. Hope you don't mind. Okay, chnsip or pjsip. In this presentation, I will not be talking as a developer or as an architect, but I will be talking as a system administrator. You know, you have those nice asterisk PBX boxes, uptime more than 400 days. Everything is running fine. You know how to handle every single problem there can be. And then they come up with something new like pjsip. What the hell? Chnsip, pjsip. Is it like choosing between the red pill and or the blue pill? Is it just a nightmare where you get out when you wake up and you think, oh, it was only a nightmare? Or are you going to choose the real stuff? No, it isn't. It ain't like that. Chnsip or pjsip. It's more like choosing between two different styles, but one is more powerful and better. What's wrong with chnsip? There is no spoon, so there is nothing wrong. It works fine, normally, chnsip, but it has been modified a lot. Of course, chnsip is the first module that was in asterisk, sip. And so it is there already such a long time. And I'm not actually writing C code for chnsip, but I'm just telling what other people tell me. And I look wise on that if I do that. It's been modified a lot. It's hard to maintain. It's something like, don't fix what ain't broken. If you're gonna start touching things in chnsip, hold on, because you don't know what you're gonna get. That's what real developers tell me. And actually, it's slowing down the further development of asterisk because of that. And as we all know, chnsip is not actually very close to the SIP protocol. You have some strange things that are within chnsip that you can do more with pjsip, but I will get to that. Okay, it will start now. You know, battling. Okay. Oh, upgrades. Sure. Then you get into trouble. pjsip. Why is pjsip better? Why should we switch? You can configure it way much better. You can do things that ain't possible with chnsip. So that is definitely a reason. Like you can have multiple AORs, address of records, for a single, for one same endpoint. That means for people who don't really get or into the SIP protocol, that means that you actually have one account with a username and a password, and I can run that account on my laptop, on my mobile, on my desktop phone, all at the same time. And when I get a phone call, I can choose, will only one device ring, or will all my devices will be ringing? That's something that people often ask with ChanSIP. Why do I have to make an account for every single device, and I want to ring multiple devices at the same time? Can I use the same username and password? No, you can't. With pjsip, you can. The net address translating is less obscure in ChanSIP. I don't know why there is something like in ChanSIP like Comedia. I don't understand what it stands for, but in pjsip I understand the configuration, what it actually says, but maybe I'm not that smart. You don't have user, peer, and friends, also something that's something, yeah, you have to know what it is, but that's not in ChanSIP. And that is one that I really like. You get much better device and mailbox states on a better way. If you do that on a large scale, you have to use between multiple asterisk servers. You can't do that within asterisk itself. You have to use an XMPP server to get messaging done. Now you can do it with pjsip. It is possible to do it within your asterisk. You're gonna get out one single point of failure. That XMPP server is gonna go away. So that's something that is better. And the development for the asterisk developers can go faster, easier, and better. You have a question?
You said that you can share the device state between machines just using pjsip?
Yes, it's a module within pjsip and that you can configure so that you can actually go sending device states and mailbox states between asterisk instances. That's true. So it's the future. I'm forgetting what is happening here. Okay. I'm going to go to this slide. The next slide was actually saying, can I run them together, but I don't get my... Okay, I'm going to skip it. Yes, you can run them together. You can run ChanSIP and pjsip together, but not on the same IP address or on the same port. And there is a problem with WebSockets, but there is a patch for that. If you're running pjsip and ChanSIP together and using WebSockets, the WebSocket will actually one time go to the SIP driver and another time to the pjsip driver, but there is a patch for that. Okay, that was on that blank slide. Okay, configuration. Try to forget ChanSIP. It's not a one-to-one relationship. Not everything that was in ChanSIP will be in pjsip. Some things will get split out in multiple variables. Some are not longer available. This is a very basic, minimalistic ChanSIP basic config. You don't have to explain that. You all know that. And it looks like this in pjsip. You see, these are about 10 lines, and these are about 20 lines. I will go in detail on every section of this during my presentation. But as you see, it is different. These are all the possible, almost all possible configuration types that there are within pjsip. It's quite a lot. So you will be writing quite some lines of configuration, but there are also solutions for that, but I will get to that. Style is still the same. You use square brackets for a new section, but you have to define that which type you are configuring. Is it an endpoint? Is it an AOR? Option values. You can still use templates. You know that from sip with the exclamation mark to fill in variables. But you also have wizards, and I will come later onto that. Okay, let's start with the beginning, transport. The transport section binds pjsip to an IP address and a port. It starts listening to that. So that's quite easy. You have that in sip as well. But you can have multiple bindings. So you can actually define, okay, for WebSockets, I'm going to use this IP address, and for UDP, I'm going to use this IP address, and for TLS, I'm going to use another IP address. You can't reload transport sections during runtime. You have to restart your asterisk, what is quite logic if you think about it, that you can't say, I'm going to add new interfaces during runtime. So, okay. Smallest minimal configuration is this one. Type is transport. We're listening to the UDP protocol, and I'm binding on all my IP addresses on the default port 5060. More advanced configuration is something like this, on which you say I'm listening to these protocols, TCP, TLS, WebSockets, secure WebSockets on this port. Here you already have some NAT showing up. This is my local NAT, and this is also really something that is in it, and that I don't actually see why it is in it, but you can split up your media address and your signaling address. I don't know if there are any people in this room who ever have done that, splitting up signaling and media. Normally you run that on the same server, I think, but you can actually split it up. Okay, endpoints. Let's start with, let's go to that. Our asterisk is ready and waiting. It's waiting for connections. Endpoints are devices that will send and receive calls, and they need three sections. You need to configure an endpoint, and an endpoint will need a transport, an address of record, and an authentication section. Else it won't work. So they hang together like that. This is a basic endpoint. Type endpoint context, you know that. Codecs, here is the transport section. This is the authentication section. I renamed it. I gave it another name than my endpoint section, but there is no need to. I can use the same name. Asterisk will know that this is something different because of the type here is set and is different, and I'm defining also where to look for my address of records. Okay, address of records. That's about location. Where do you have to send the package to? Follow the white rabbit. Like I already said, you can have multiple address of records for one device. Address of records can be overwritten or not. You can define that. Like when you're qualifying, it can be handy if you overwrite them, because you're on the move, you're being mobile. You come to another network, so it has to be overwritten. But you can also say no, you can't overwrite that AOR, and so yeah. And when you're moving, you will get an error when you're trying to connect your device. It can be static or dynamic. Qualifying is still available. Small example. This is a static AOR in which you define, okay, how can I send packages to the endpoint. This one is a dynamic one, which will be qualifying you can set the maximum contacts. Default maximum contacts is 0, and if you don't put, if you say 0, you can never actually register your endpoint. It will always fail because it can't write an address of record, and that's something that people say, oh, what's going on? Yeah, you have to define that. Okay, authentication, we're moving along. Password, please. The authentication section sets configures the options and the settings for the inbound and outbound registration. Very easy also. Type authentication. Out type is user pass. I don't know if there is any other type. I don't have found one in the documentation, but I'm not sure. Password is the plain text password. You can use MD5 credentials as well. That is an option as well. And the username that has to be used for the authentication. Okay. What did I? Okay. Wrong button. Registration, plugging your asterisk into the matrix, into the other network. You know, in sip, it's that single line on top of your sip.conf register, and then a server, username, password, server, stuff like that. And pjsip, it's that line. And now it looks like this, you see? Some larger. It will be defining which transport you will be using, so it's handy. So you can actually say this trunk has to use this network. I want my trunks to go over my SDSL connection, and I want my users to use my ADSL connection. Don't know why you can split it up. That's quite handy. You have your outbound authentication section. This is the server you will be connecting to, and this is the contact string you will be sending, and this is the retry interval. Okay. Identify is a little bit the same but different, because identify is also a way of authentication, but it's based on the IP address of the source that's sending to you. So that's handy. You use that when you're configuring a trunk, because the from field can be different each time, and asterisk has to know from, okay, to where do I have to get those packages, and then you can say, okay, but it's from this trunk, so you have to go right to there in the dial plan. So let's identify, and there is a typo in it. What? I see there is something wrong with my slides, and probably they show up right here, but yeah, I'm having an issue with my laptop, so I'm using another laptop, and probably there is something going wrong, because my one was on a local Apache, and this one is just running local files, and probably some of my JavaScript is not willing to run. Great. It was just, the presentation is online. I will talk you through. It's not that difficult. It was about the dial plan. I can show you this one. How do you dial a SIP and a pjsip endpoint? Still the same, but instead of using SIP, you choose pjsip. Then you will call the first address of record that asterisk finds. If you want to call all the address of AORs, then you have to use another dial command, and that says dial, and then you have to use this variable pjsip dial contacts for that extension. You have a question?
Is it a comment or a command? Dial first command.
This is a the first line. Yeah, that dials the first contact.
This is just a comment.
Yeah, that's just a comment here. Yeah, indeed. I had to put the semicolon right there. Okay. Dialing to a trunk is also still recognizable. But you can also directly call to, and that's because my background is away, so you can't see it. I think some images are missing. You can also call SIP URIs. So that's what we are doing here. I'm gonna see what else I'm missing. I was showing you an example for a NAT endpoint, but oh wait. It's my back. Oh, no, look, it's easy. Just my background that is missing, so I can't show you this one. This is an example for an endpoint that is behind a NAT address translating thing. This is a trunk. Oh no, wait. Transport. Yes, this is a trunk that I'm configuring. Direct media, no. I think it's, yep. So external media address, and then this is the trunk. Okay. Okay, this is an endpoint. Sorry. This is the transport section. Sorry, I was a little bit confused. This is the transport section, the authentication section, and here is the most interesting thing: the endpoint section, on which you have to say that you don't or are not supporting direct media, and that you're using a NAT. The transport that knows about the local network. Whoa, and yeah, I have to stand still more. Okay. And this is the trunk section. Okay.
In the outbound registration, the client URI is presumably the contacts header that it sends. When registering. Can that be, there you set it manually, can that be automatically generated by asterisk if you don't know, for example, what your local IP address is going to be?
Wait, I'm having a look. No.
Client URI is the AOR we are registering to. The contact URI itself that we are giving them is automatic.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. The client URI is what you're sending. Yep. Indeed. Okay. Yep. Wizards. I was showing the key maker at this point. Wizards are new in pjsip, and it's great. You know, you have all those different sections you have to configure, and a wizard allows you to configure an endpoint. Yeah, it's not my day. In one single section, because it will automatically, asterisk will create all the sections that are needed and will fill it in with the data you're giving here, that you're configuring here within your wizard. So it's an easier way to make, to configure all your devices, your endpoints, because you can configure it in less lines. Like it sees, it knows there's an outbound authentication, so it will make on its own an authentication section, stuff like that. How many times do you define the username? In pjsip quite sometimes, every time this section, and now you only have to set it once, and then it's easier. It's well documented at the wiki, so know that it exists before you start typing. I'm gonna jump to the real-time configuration because Yeah, that's something, small differences. All my, good. Real-time configuration in sip is one table, sip peers, that's the default table. With pjsip, you have many tables. You don't have to fill them all, but it's quite different. Asterisk uses now Alembic, and this is Lambic, and because I'm always missing, this is Belgium comic figure, and this is Belgium beer that is also called Lambic, and this is Alembic. And Alembic just actually updates your database tables to the state they have to be. The database tables changed between asterisk 13.2 and after that, at 30.2 the tables did get a change. That is quite risky, in my opinion, as a system administrator and not as a developer. Changing database tables during a long-term support version is something, yeah, okay, that's quite risky. But okay, at DEF CON last year, we said that we were allowing to add new functions within an existing branch. So that's one of the things that we have to deal with. So it's not, I'm not negative about it, but it was something that people say, okay, I'm just going to update. Ah, damn, it doesn't work anymore. So be careful with that. There is sorcery. Sorcery is an abstract, data abstract layer. In sorcery.conf, you can define in which order and where asterisk has to look for its data. So you have to use it. It's handy. You can say, okay, search the file first. If you don't find it there, then go to my database or vice versa. Know that it exists. XConf, still using that. That doesn't make a lot of changes. You only have to fill the first three tables. These tables are getting filled automatically by asterisk. So, okay. I have good news for you. I've made a script that actually converts your sip peers table to the three tables that you need in pjsip, because there was there was already a script for the sip.conf file to migrate it to pjsip.conf, but actually who uses static files these days for configuration? So I was wondering why nobody has written a script for the real-time tables. And then I said, okay, well, let's start it. And then I understood why nobody else was not written it. It's one wise lesson. It's a wise lesson from me. When you go home, remember this one. If you think that's easy and why nobody has done it before, there is a reason for it. But okay, it's working. I could show it on my laptop. My endpoints are empty now, and when I run it, they get filled. But you can download it. Okay. I think that I'm done for today. Do you have questions? No, that's the way it is. First or all. Yeah, those slides are also on the website. Yep, you can find that. Yep, with the matching backgrounds. Yes, WebRTC works fantastic with pjsip. Yep. It works with chansip also, but it works with both. Yeah, it's real great. So you know what to do the following months. I just can say start migrating. You can't keep relying on chansip forever. I know many people are still using asterisk 1.8 because, hey, it just works fine. But yeah, you'll have to move on, and it's quite something different. And if you're, one of the most important things is if you are depending in your dial plan heavily on reading and modifying SIP headers, then you're going to get in trouble with pjsip. But in my opinion, modifying SIP headers is not something you have to do in a dial plan. You do that before with Camellia or something like that, but modifying heavily, depending on SIP header, reading and modifying SIP headers, it's, but
that's
it's
actually something I was wondering about, because with the Cisco phones and like I don't use PBX, so I manage all that stuff separately, and like changing a ringtone or auto answer if you're doing paging, all that kind of stuff. You have to have handlers now. Why did that? I mean, what programmatically made that have to change?
wait, I'm gonna see if I can.
Endpoints now, or is there something like why is there a handler now?
Okay, I'm gonna show. Like,
Yeah.
this is how it works now. This before you actually. Before the call is getting answered, you're going to go to this extension, and that will add your SIP header or modify your SIP header. So it is possible. But when you read on the asterisk user list, the issues that people are having with pjsip, it's quite often about, SIP headers. Actually on,
It's just that, like, if you do tweak it a lot and do different things, like say you have a bunch of different ringtones and you have, a paging thing, like you might have to do 6 headers or 7. I mean, like each little thing.
Okay, yeah. It is possible, but
it just gets to be a lot more manual.
yeah, it will be. It's a little bit more difficult. Like this one gives the device status of an endpoint. Yeah, it does exist in pjsip as well, but not everything does already exist in pjsip, and so you have to be careful if you're really doing advanced stuff within your dial plan. Check it very carefully. You first.
We normally have this kind of problem with local channel when we use it as for hot desking. The device state is not reported, so it's useless to use ring news code. No, there is.
I don't know. I have to look it up. I don't know. I haven't used it in that way yet.
So if we're not supposed to be adjusting our SIP headers, and if we need to do things like that, or like you mentioned, ringtones, or communicating with our carriers, I mean, some of my carriers require that I add a specific SIP header. So how is that handled?
It is possible. I would.
Well, no, I mean, how is it handled in a reliable way? You're saying you could do it this way, but when it breaks, people are going to say don't do it this way. So,
Well, yeah. I would look at Camellia.
so I'll have to use a proxy like Camellia.
But that's my personal opinion. I would do it like that, but yeah. But yeah.
That is huge. That's enormous. That's
Yeah,
that's a
but
showstopper for a lot of
yeah.
people.
Okay, but try it out.